Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, all of my beautiful friends from all across the vast reaches of the internet. I hope each and every single one of you is doing absolutely wonderfully spectacular today on this fine Tuesday morning whenever you happen to be listening to this podcast episode, whether that be morning, evening, or in the night. Welcome to the Reddit Asks Us podcast, the podcast where we react to comments from r/Askreddit. I am your host, Luke Dick. Now remember, if you're listening to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, Pandora, wherever you happen to be listening to this podcast episode, whatever platform that may be, please go ahead and leave us a rating and also leave us a review. Absolutely no idea. Helps the show out so immensely much. So thank you all to everyone who has done that. And please, if you haven't done that, go ahead and do that. That'd be very much appreciated. This is an ad-supported show, so we will take a little bit of an ad break, about 10 to 15 minutes into the show after we're done reading the comments from last week's episode. And then we can, and then we'll take another break about like 20 minutes or 30 minutes into the show after that. Please go and you can answer this week's Reddit question. So, and I will read the responses out loud on the next week's following episode. So if you go to the description of the episode in Spotify, you should see the ability to comment there, and I will read out loud your responses on the next week's episode. And I will also tell you the results of the Would You Rather, because we do a Would You Rather poll every single week as well. I think that's it. Oh, remember to check out our subreddit, r/Reddit Asks Us on Reddit. So please go ahead and do that. There's a new mega thread for every episode posted each week on Tuesday, so you can all participate in that. So I guess, why don't we read off comments from last week's episode? Also, I'm recording this episode on Sunday, so the results of the poll may not be final. But the results of the poll from last week was, would you rather know every language or play every instrument? Every language edged every instrument out, but it wasn't like that all week. I was checking the poll, and it was flip-flopping, okay? So this is it's a pretty tight one. We had a 4-5 vote on this one, so it was a 55.6% to 44.4%. So it's a pretty tight one. It was only one vote. Otherwise, it would have been pretty tied. So this is a bit of a split category here, split decision for the gang. So if you haven't cast your votes, please go ahead and do that, because that poll closes on Tuesday, I believe, when this episode comes out and the next poll is available. So last week's episode was, what secret did you find out about your friend? The first one comes from the Green Changeling. Don't worry about not having a majority vote on your side, Luke. If that one song about the fox taught us anything, it's that majority can be wrong. That's very true. That's a deep cut, man. I forgot about that, and I am kind of sad that I'm now reminded of that. No fault of you, but God, was that song ever so annoying. And I knew people who actually liked listening to it. They thought it was good and that was funny, and that it was like, I'm like, if you think that this song is funny, I'm sorry, but there must be limitations on your sense of humor. This was just not it. I'm like, I have seen way funnier things than this. This is just hella annoying. These are the type of people that it's just like, it's the guys from Dumb and Dumber. And he's like, want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? Like, that's what people like that thought was funny. Anyways, when it comes to secrets about my friends, I learned that redacted for privacy. Well, there you go. Also, I would love to know every language. No more needing subtitles or dubs to watch anime. There you go. I guess it was some top secret info that you learned about your friend. As it just trails off and it just is like assassinated. Next one comes from a special little cat. Excuse me. I would want to learn all the languages, and I probably would benefit a lot since I'm going to be spending a year in Japan. And yes, the Oregon mosquitoes are evil. That was from last week's episode. And I've had 87 bites one. That is disgusting. That's terrible. That's like inhumane. I think that they got to do something about that in Oregon. I did not know the mosquitoes are so bad. But congratulations on being able to spend a year in Japan. That sounds like fun. Next one comes from Phil Savannah. What's going on, Phil? I knew a girl that I was hooking up with for a while that turned out she liked getting pterodactyled. Same girl is now a doctor in Atlanta. So I guess she got to know the human body pretty well from that. That was her inspiration. If anyone doesn't know the pterodactyl thing, you can look it up. It's not. It's an act. It's of the sexual nature, I guess we could say, and it's not. I had never even heard of it. So if that inspired her to go down her route of the medical profession, I think that's a really roundabout way to get there. I think that maybe you could pursue some other sorts of, like, volunteering. Maybe is great at a hospital. Talking to doctors and nurses and stuff. I don't think that you necessarily know. You need to know a ton about the human anatomy by going and doing that. I think that there are some other more maybe streamlined ways to go about that. She's just the resident sexual health doctor. Next one comes from Nick. Hey again, Luke and listeners. Multiple things. Firstly, I think I thought you were a boy commenter was answering the previous question. Yeah, I did realize that. Sometimes it's hard because I take breaks and long breaks and stuff in between episodes, and it's not always, things don't always come to my mind at right in the moment. So I've been embarrassed by that a lot because my mom will listen to the show and she's like, you didn't quite get it, and it was right there. It was just right there in front of your face. And I feel very embarrassed because now everybody in the world can now be aware of my stupidity. But you know what? That is the cost of doing a podcast. And, I feel like that almost makes this show a little bit better. You guys can all tune into my ignorance and stupidity. The next is the Would You Rather. I'd personally take the omnilinguistics just so I can complete my life's dream, seeing the whole world without the stress of learning languages. That's true. And lastly, very surprising, my current best friend was SA'd as a child, protecting their younger siblings. Don't worry, they're fine, and thanks for reading. Wow, that's heavy. Holy crap. Well, I hope your friend is okay. But the learning language thing would be really nice because I have like food allergies. Like, I'm allergic to nuts, like deathly allergic, and it's sometimes the language barrier when I'm at certain places makes me really nervous because I'm just like, does everybody think that because all nuts are the same thing? Some people are only allergic to peanuts. Some people are only allergic to walnuts or cashews and stuff. So it makes me really nervous when I'm trying new foods. So sometimes I'm just like, I've got the EpiPen there and it's just kind of hovering. I'm just waiting for something bad to go down. But that's the price. That's the price you got to pay. Next one comes from Jesse the Sigma. What's going on, Jesse? Hey, Luke. Hello, Jesse. Next one comes from L Dude. I don't have any friends with a bunch of sad faces. This is not true. We are your friends out here on the Reddit Asks Us podcast. We're everyone in this community is part of your friend. So is your friend. So that is a false statement. Next one comes from Mick Muffin. I found out that one of my friends was a jerk when he punched me over losing a game of Fortnite. Amazing episode. Sorry I haven't commented in a while. No problem, McMuffin. No worries, my guy. Okay? No worries in the slightest. But really, bro? Like, this happened to me one time when I was a kid. I got punched in the shoulder because I told a guy that I didn't like playing volleyball because I wasn't good at it at the time. I grew to love the sport, actually. I actually ended up being kind of a decent volleyball player in my later elementary school years. And I'm still a decent volleyball player now and I actually really enjoy playing the sport. But anyways, I knew it was kind of getting a rise out of him, so I thought I'd just say, like, God, I hate volleyball. And he just, boom, punched me right in the shoulder. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Dealing with your emotions by physical violence. That's great. You know what? You know when this is going to work really well? When you're in a relationship. I have heard that is just the number one way to solve all your issues. If your girlfriend or partner is just, saying, like, if they're telling you, if they're standing on that hill and they're dying on that hill, that they don't like volleyball, wow, they don't even know. Okay, they got a big old fist coming right for them. How else are they supposed to learn? How else are they supposed to learn how to not piss me off? How are they supposed to learn that, no, you are wrong? Your opinion is wrong. That is not an opinion. I have the state of fact. Okay? I live in the state of fact. Okay? This is where my domain is. And you have clearly broken the law. So that physical punishment. That always amazed me as a kid. I was like, wow, this is kind of psycho. Like, this is just this might be the early road to physical abuse and violence. Again, like I just said, surely not a great way to end up in fucking jail or prison, holding up a little sign there when you get arrested for your mugshot. So, it's not, I think we've had a lot of conversations about this, that's like the number one way to not go about doing anything. Next one comes from Stressed Human. I learned this after I started playing Dungeons and Dragons, and apparently my friend had played D&D for years, but thought it was nerdy, so didn't tell anyone else at the party. I've wanted to play D&D, okay? And I'm not like a very like outwardly looking nerdy person. I would say in general, I actually kind of have more of a jock look. Like I definitely look, especially if anyone's like seen my Instagram, I definitely look like I do keg stands before I go to bed. Like that's the kind of vibe that I give off. Like I think everyone is surprised when I tell them I've never been in a frat before. That's kind of like my vibe that I look. But I'm a nerd, and Dungeons and Dragons sounds like so much fun. The episode of Community's the best comedy TV show ever, and if you don't believe that, then I'm gonna punch you. But there's an episode of Community in season 2. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons that kind of explains how Dungeons and Dragons and role-playing games work. And it's actually like pretty simple. I mean, I know it can get really complicated, but the base level concept of like how you can go about your world and do an adventure, and you have like, it's an open world, like you can make decisions and do certain things. Like it's not like a board game in the sense like, you move character pieces around. Like it's like, no, you are driving the narrative of the story. So anyways, yeah, I mean, cool to find out your friend was maybe they were even to the level of Dungeon Master. Who even knows? That sounds a little bit, Dungeon Master sounds a little bit like, you're a Dungeon Master? Like, that's, I mean, good for you. Like, way to be liberated. It's 2024, and you're just going around telling people you're a Dungeon Master? Holy, I mean, I know you're a fan of Pulp Fiction, but I wasn't, I never I made it always a thing to never go into someone's basement, but now I know, why I've never seen your basement. Little Dungeon Master. It's like, no, this is just Dungeons and Dragons. Cool thing to learn about your friend, though. Next one comes from Dusty. For the would you rather, I'd choose every language. If it's like you have the knowledge of the language, if you grew up learning that language, yeah. Why would I choose it? Is that you would be able to enjoy understanding books and shows if you were a native speaker of the language, and being able to travel the world and appreciate the cultures of said locations. Yeah, that's true. That's all very true. And the last one comes from the Dopic, who responded on Reddit. Hi, Luke, it's me again for the poll. I think every language is better. Everyone's kind of going with the every language, but this was a pretty split poll. I think the instrument people need to start speaking up. I think you need to blast the trumpets. You gotta blow the tenor sax to just. You gotta get those tubas going. The oboe, maybe even a little bit of the oboe, the clarinet. Wet your reed, my friends, and blow hard. Talking about instruments is so erotic. Next one. So yeah. Anyways, for the poll. If you choose the instrument one, you'd still need to pay lots of money to get those instruments, but the language one is free. Again, I also prefer knowing every language for personal reasons. Well, fair enough, but, I think you could make a lot of money as somebody who plays every single instrument, For the question, a secret I found about my best friend is a classic. I know every single crush he gets when he gets it because I'm the first one he tells. Of course, I tell him to ask them out, but he's always too scared. Have a great day, Luke. Well, thank you very much. I hope you don't out your friend. Like, that would be a little bit like, if you don't tell them you like them, I will tell them for you, and I'll ruin your life. Every moment you've ever thought you've been embarrassed in your life will pity in comparison to what I'm going to tell all of the girls you have a crush on. That sounds like my worst nightmare. All right, okay, so I think we are going to read the Would You Rather for this week. So This week's Would You Rather. Sorry, folks, I feel like I'm a little disorganized today, but I don't normally record on a Sunday, and I'm trying to streamline things a little bit here. Anyway, so the poll for this week is, I had to kind of edit it because I don't know why it was phrased this way on Reddit, but would you rather be able to pause time for 10 minutes a day, or be able to rewind time by 10 minutes a day? So who knows? Sometimes when you're in that conversation with that person and you're like, wow, I need a mental break. This is actively mentally exhausting talking to this person. So just pause time, collect yourself, maybe sneak ahead of the line at a donut shop, grab yourself some donuts, just you won't even show up on the radar. Get away with a little bit of, not condoning shoplifting, but if you could pause time, it's a perk, okay? Skip the big lines kind of thing is, it's got some advantages. I think that there's something to work with here. Rewind, it's like, wow, I got to talk to this person all over again. I think that that I'm going to lose my conversational skill and ability. I'm never going to want to talk to another person ever again if I have to rewind this conversation. But anyways, so that is the Would You Rather. We're going to take a short break, and then we're going to hop into this week's episode. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Reddit Asks Us podcast. Wow. Everyone, whenever I get like 10 or more comments or something, it feels like the beginning of the show goes on for quite some time. I'm so happy that everybody is commenting and participating. It's so fun when everyone takes part. So please go ahead and do that if you haven't already. So as you can see from the episode title, this episode is, what couldn't you believe you had to explain to another adult? And honestly, We've all been there, to be honest. We've all been to that place where we're like, I have been doing something or thought something was this way for my whole life, and now it feels like my reality is being shattered because it's so mind-numbingly obvious, the answer. Oh my gosh. If I could count how many times that this has happened to me, I honestly think that we might be reaching the, we might be reaching infinite levels of knowledge here that I have obviously not accrued. So the first one comes from Rosie Fu. Why a room below sea level on a cruise ship would not have a balcony? See, this one, holy crap. I'm kind of like ripping on myself, but it's like, bruh. It's like, do you understand how much I paid for these tickets? I feel like you're not. I've been talking to customer service forever, and I've been thinking, how could I possibly not have a balcony? All right, I paid for underwater seating because I wanted to see the ocean, okay? I wanted an underwater room because I wanted a window. I wanted to be able to look out, see the wildlife, see the marine life, and get, a little bit of richness from this experience. And you're telling me that I can't even step out to the frickin' balcony? Like, is this is the restrictive surveillance state world that we're living in right now? You can't even let me just take a step outside my own room. What if I'm underwater and I need to grab a breath of fresh air and I don't want to go all the way up to the top? You don't see how you guys are losing a ton of business. You guys don't really see how someone might want a balcony. They're feeling a little seasick maybe, and you just need to step out, and you don't have time to get to the top deck. So you just want to slide open that door. Slide open the sliding door and just take a big old breath of that air. It's like, okay, if you did that, I think the ship would capsize. Like, this is, how do you go about explaining that to somebody? It's like, so the thing about being underwater is that if you were to open a window underwater, the water would come in the window. They're like, yeah, but see, this is what I'm not understanding. Why can we not just Can we not just open the window with no water coming in? Like, I feel like, why does the water have to come in? Can we not just say, like, no? Like, is there no way we can just shut it down? Like, we are human beings, okay? We're pretty freaking smart. All right, we've been able to figure out a lot. We put satellites in the sky, okay? We've had a man on the moon, if you believe that, okay? Let's just say for a second we put a man on the moon. Oh, okay, sure, we did that, okay. And you're telling me we can't have windows underwater that open just for a little bit of fresh air? Come on. This is, we need to get to the bottom of this. It seems kind of insane that we haven't had the technology to be able to accomplish this feat. This is, I'm making a formal complaint to NASA. It's like, well, I don't think NASA has the answer to literal basic physics. Like, this is just nature. This is just what happens when you, like, put water in a room, in an enclosed room. That's unbelievable to me. Next one comes from Aqua Chinez. Wow, a little bit of a shout out to the previous one, if you know what I mean. Volunteered at a charity shop, which, from what I've inferred, because I was reading these before, and from what I inferred, a charity shop's like a thrift store, like a Value Village, or I don't even know if is that a Canadian thing? Value Village? I don't know. But like a Salvation Army or something like that. Volunteered at a charity shop. Lady came to the counter with a top and asked if I could look in the back for one of the same color but a larger size. Tried to explain that we don't do that because we are a charity shop. She insisted that the other shops like H&M have done that for her. She wouldn't take no for an answer. Eventually, I just went to the back for a few minutes and made a cup of tea for a coworker and came out saying that we don't have any. She got mad at that too. Like, what do you think this store is? I don't, like, what, this is, like, can you not see that everything here is, like, unique and different? There's not a single, like, repetitious item here. Like, you find, like, one thing here, you can't find something exactly like it. There are no, like, have you not looked at all of the other clothes? Does it look like there's any other clothes in multiple sizes? Like, just look around. Like, it's just, well, personally, this is terrible customer service. Honestly, I think this is up there with the worst terrible customer service I've ever had in my entire life. Can you not just look in the back? It's like, do you want to know what's in the back? Donations, like, of giant garbage bags filled with clothes. Like, we're not getting shipments in. This is not a retail store. This is a thrift store. It's called the Salvation Army. Like, we are salvaging items. I don't even honestly think that that's the root cause of the world. I think salvation is like you're saved from something. But we're going to riff on this, okay? We're going to riff on this. We're going to take it and run. All right, we're salvaging items here. This is a conglomerate of a bunch of random items that people have given us. Where would I even, like, this is old. This is like a 20-year-old item. This actually might be vintage from, like, the 60s. I honestly don't even think the company that manufactured this item even exists anymore. Look, it says on the tag, made in America. No clothing is made in America. Where do you think this was made? What brand do you think this is? We don't have this. Like, oh. How has people never, like, understood, like, you can immediately tell the difference between a thrift store and a regular retail store by just the smell. You walk into a thrift store and you're like, smells like other people's clothes. Like, it smells like everything has been washed in a giant laundry machine. Everything in this store. Like, I can smell the previous person who wore this on this sweater. Like, I don't know a ton of retail stores that are selling faded shirts that where the graphics are cracked. Like, this is not a look. I don't know too many stores that are selling the old 2003 like comic book Iron Man washed out tee that's stretched around the neck. I don't think that that's like a fashion statement. I think that that's kind of just like, you know, I don't think that people are going around buying these like wolf sweaters. Like this was clearly somebody wanted to get rid of this. This is not like clothing that someone was like, no, this is going to be popping right now. This is a true fashion statement. That is unbelievable to me. It's like, can't you just get another size? It's like, this might be the only thing we've ever had in here like this ever. A reply from Anori Demarchi. It's not very often where you like see someone like make their name. Op Shop, Australian for charity shop. We had a family family come shop and place a massive heap of clothing on the counter, which they carefully and with much discussion divided in two. None of this discussion happened in English, so imagine our surprise when they say, "This one we will pay for, and this one we will have for free." They did not have any of the vouchers the charity gives out for that sort of thing, and their free pile was all very expensive brands. That was a conversation I could not physically listen to. Painful. It's like, yeah, this, so I think we'll take the, because there's some of these places, you know, I think we'll take the Lululemon, the Nike, the Adidas, all of those sportswear brands, and we're just going to have them. We're just going to have them for free. Like, I feel like, maybe you got yourself caught up in like a stick up here. Maybe they were like, we're throwing you a bone here by paying for some of these items. Like, you didn't even know, but that dude the whole time had like a gun under the counter. He was like, no, you're not getting this. We are not paying for this. And you're like, the price tag's right on it, dude. Price tag is right on it. You gotta pay for it, dude. There's literally a price tag attached to every item. Like, that's what it costs. It's like, no, you're not understanding this. I will kill you if I don't leave here now with all of this stuff. Okay, sure, all right. Go ahead, pull the trigger. All right, that's a pretty strong, figure of speech. I know, with all the new lingo nowadays, it's getting hard to keep track of what people are talking about. But that one's a little bit too on the nose, don't you think? Like, I'm gonna kill you and murder you right in front of me, and I'm gonna see your blood splatter all over the back wall. Like, come on, dude. Like, be a little bit more creative. You gotta think a little outside the box here. This kind of seems like you're not really trying that hard to come up with some sort of inside joke here. Like, sure, you're gonna stick the gun to my chest and blow my heart out. Like, and then you're gonna, reach inside like Indiana Jones, like type of thing. Like, this is not, it's a little too literal, okay? Memes are supposed to be meta. They're supposed to be kind of, a little abstract. This is a little too literal for the situation. That's crazy. That's so funny. They're just like, no, this one we'll be having. I think all of the expensive stuff, we're just, we don't care. We're not going to pay for that stuff. We'll pay Walmart prices for these expensive clothes. And that's going to be the deal. That's how thrift shops work, is I literally go to the counter and just decide whether or not I'm paying for it. Yeah, this is a little too nice for this place to have. I should probably take this off your hands, all right? I should probably resell this on Depop. All right, this is going directly to Poshmark. You don't need the money for this, okay? You clearly don't even know what it is. You had it priced at $5. This is a vintage item, luxury item. You clearly don't deserve it. I will be selling this on Grailed. So I will just be having this now. Next one comes from Ariask. That New Zealand, the country where we're both born and raised and living in, is not in Europe. Edit to answer most of your questions. Her reasoning is that when we filled out forms, she has to tick a box for her ethnicity. She ticks New Zealand European. She thought that option was there because we are European and therefore in Europe. I had to explain to her that means just she is of European descent and her ancestors lived in Europe. I also had to explain that not every New Zealander ticks that box and that there are other ethnicities too. Oh my gosh. This one's kind of brutal. It's like, she's like, why have we never like taken a trip to Italy? Like, it's literally a train ride away. I can't believe I've been living in New Zealand my whole life and never seen the Eiffel Tower. It's like, well, obviously, that's like it's a 12-hour flight. It's like, well, I think there's a train we can catch. Okay, I think that they've streamlined it. All right, Europe's full of trains. We're Europeans. We travel differently. Like, I don't understand where this is coming from. Why would I fly 13 hours when I can literally just take the train? I don't think you are getting this. We are in the middle of the ocean. Like, we are on an island, a very small island in the middle of the ocean. I don't understand. Like, on a map, did you think they just cut out every, like, if you were in Europe, do you think they just cut out every country around you just to, like, isolate you? I mean, I grew up my entire life in Canada with maps of Canada. They didn't just cut around the United States and just replace it just with just blue. Most maps that I grew up with, it's a map of North America. Canada might have been highlighted in the map, but there was still the U.S. in every U.S. state. And oftentimes we grew up with maps of the world, so we saw every other country there too. You've never seen a map of the world before and thought to yourself, this is a little weird. Why are we so isolated? Why are we so far from our other European brethren and sistren? I don't understand. Like, why did they separate us? Like, we belong in Europe. Why did they just drag us over here? I feel like they're being a little bit exclusionary, okay? Just because we're the cool Europeans with the cool accents doesn't mean you guys just get to take a pair of scissors and on every map of the world in the world, shove us down below some weird continent called Australia. Yeah, what's next? The North Pole? Like, what's, come on, Fantasyland? Like, what's going on here? Like, are we going to Neverland or Narnia? Come on. It's like, no, the North Pole is a real place. Oh yeah, and Santa's workshop's there too. It's like, well, no, Santa's workshop's not there, but the North Pole is a real place on the planet. Oh, what's next? What's next? You're gonna take me to the pyramids? Ha! The pyramids. Really? Come on. They were literally destroyed in Transformers. They literally got demolished in Transformers. Everyone knows the pyramids are gone. Okay, that it was a giant narrative in the story. It's like, you don't think that what happened in Transformers happened in real life. Well, obviously there was a big cover-up, but come on. I mean, that was the U.S. military. They wouldn't lie to us like that. How do you think the story was told with such good cameras? You know what? This is the real conversation. It's the surveillance state. We're all being watched. Okay? And this is just, it just goes to show poor Sam Witwicky just couldn't get away. Ever since his grandpa discovered the Decepticon underneath the ice, we just couldn't find our way out of this state. And poor kid gets caught up in the mess. He didn't even have a choice. He's being spied on, the U.S. government. He's an enemy of the Decepticons. Bumblebee scares him. What kind of world are we living in? All right, I think it's time now that we bring the Transformers to light. All right, we need to start inviting them to Congress. They need to be in the politically involved conversations. All right, this is like, come on. You guys can't have all this cool power and destroy our pyramids of Giza and not take a little responsibility for your actions. I don't know how I got onto this, but that is unbelievably wild. It's like, no, they're not just putting the ocean around you for fun. Why would they do that? Like, why would they just be like, yeah, New Zealand, we're just gonna, instead of drawing all the other countries in Europe around it, we're just gonna replace it with ocean. Yeah, and just put it in the middle of nowhere next to Australia. How about that? Why don't we just for a little, just all of the people who make maps in the world just kind of got together and just collectively decided that they were just going to treat New Zealand a little differently. Next one comes from Velvet Whisperer 12. That no matter how much you might want to put a camel pattern on your walls, you, not the paint, have to determine what the pattern looks like. And you will also have to purchase multiple cans of paint tinted differently because camo doesn't come out of a can that way. This is unbelievable. Oh, I thought I had hope for the human race. Oh, folks, what are we going to do? This is just, come on, bro. It's like, well, how do they paint a ghillie suit? Answer that one for me. How does camo get on clothing? They clearly paint it on or stitch it on, so there's the camo stitching pattern. So why can't I just buy a can of camo at Walmart? Why can't I just go to the hardware store and buy a can of camo? It's literally painted all over the place. How do you think they get those military trucks painted camo? Okay, why can't I just get some of that stuff? Oh, is it too military top secret for me? I'm not allowed to have the camo paint? I'm just a civilian. Oh, you're not allowed the camo paint. This seems like a little bit... Come on, we're free citizens in free society. My tax dollars fund the military. I think it's about time they release the camo paint. I think that this is a issue we can all get behind, all right? This is a nonpartisan issue. Release the camo paint. Camo's making a comeback, I think. I've been seeing lots of people dressing up in camo recently. People who I definitely don't think are about to go duck hunting. All right? I don't think that too many people go duck hunting in their Air Jordans. Or, or their New Balance 550s. Or their Air Force Ones. Just saying. Don't tend to see that look out in the marshes. I think it's making a comeback, and I think if we're gonna collectively agree that okay, camo's gonna be a part of our fashion going forward, it's about time that the military release their camo paint technology. I don't even see why they couldn't release it. It seems pretty harmless to me. Oh my lord, how do I explain this to you? Camo is multiple colors. You choose like the camo. You gotta paint it yourself. It's like I really don't. Again, it's 2024. How are we not innovating this? How are we not just put camo in a can? Canned camo sounds pretty easy to me. Sounds like I'm surprised no one's been marketing this. I might have to start this business if no one else is gonna do it. Okay, it can't be that hard to put camo in a can. You put black, green, and brown in a can, and tan maybe. Couple different shades. You put that all in a can, shake it up, and it should just spray camo. It seems pretty straightforward to me. This is unbelievable. How do you... Sometimes... Conversations you probably never thought you would ever have had to have in your entire life. Next one comes from Gravity Lands 2018. Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, and Italy is not a town in France. Same guy. My sister dated him for far too long. I feel like what did you think happened to Abraham Lincoln? I don't understand. That's like the whole thing. John Wilkes Booth. I'm a Canadian. I know this stuff. I don't come on. What did you think happened to Abraham Lincoln? Bro, he just disappeared. He was one of those strange disappearances cases. He went to the Bermuda Triangle. Oh, you think he was assassinated? Yeah, I'm so sure you do. Okay, I bet you thought JFK was assassinated too. All right, this is clearly they were flying over the Bermuda Triangle and disappeared, and they had to come up with some story because they couldn't just admit, the president disappeared. The president's gone. Just disappeared from thin air. No. Obviously, they couldn't admit that to the population because then we'd have to accept the fact that there's just a random, weird, mystical void in the planet. No, this was calculated. Assassinated. Come on, dude. I pegged you for a pretty smart guy, but now I'm really struggling with this one. Italy is not a town in France. This just takes one look at a map. I don't understand. If you've been sticking to your guns this whole time, have you never tried to prove it? Have you never tried to be like, no, I'm going to prove you wrong. Italy's right there. And then you look and see for yourself on Google Maps that Italy and France are two different countries. I don't even think they're connected by land. Is that true? I don't know. I think I might have to call myself out on this one and look it up, because I don't even think that they're even. Oh my God, why is this taking so long? Like, are they? Yeah, I think they are actually. Yes, they are connected. However, Rome is a far ways from Paris, okay? We're talking about centralized populations here, not even close. Like, come on, dude. How could you have never been, like, called out on that and just decided to try to, like, you seem like you're sticking to your guns that much. You would have had to be like, no, look it up and see. No, all the maps in the world are wrong. Huh. Come on, dude. Another one. You think I'm the conspiracy theorist. Yeah, way to go, sheep. Next one comes from I Hate Stairs. That you have to have a printer to print things at home. Tech support, and I wish I was lying. A reply from Unlucky Quotes 6394. Did they think they could just click print and it would just come out of their computer, or did they expect it to appear on their desk in printed form as if by magic? No, see, what happens when something is printed is the atoms in the universe rearrange themselves. You've heard of this. Nothing is created or destroyed. It's only recycled, rearranged, right? So when you hit the print button, this is the amazing thing about technology and about our advancement in technology as human beings. This has just been a widely regarded advancement in printing technology, because that's where we need innovation, I guess. The atoms in the universe, when you click print on your computer, will literally just rearrange into a piece of paper in front of you. It will materialize directly in front of your eyes. It is remarkable. Why we can't do this with anything else, why we're wasting our time on 3D printing, it's like, guys, we already have materializable technology. We literally are able to manipulate atoms themselves into constructing them into a piece of paper with printed words on it. It seems like this technology could be useful very much beyond what we're using it for. Again, the human race has no logic. We're just making things up as we go. So, thankfully, I'm happy that we can print stuff now. Finally, we can print things with atoms, but and I'm not a scientist. I couldn't tell you how it works and how it gets initialized and all these things, but it happens, and I think you just need to be a little bit more grateful for that. All right, so can you please tell me how long it takes for this to materialize? Because I've hit the print button about 50 times right now, and I'm getting a little impatient. Okay, are your computers just not capable of this? This is what I thought Microsoft was for, is you want a PC, you want a well-functioning computer, you buy a Windows, and this should kind of solve your problems. I thought this was supposed to be a tech company. Figure it out. I'm the customer. I'm paying for this. It's like, you called. This is not Microsoft. I don't know what you thought you called. We're AT&T. We provide cell phone plans. I can help you try to hook up internet at your house. Like, I don't know. This is not Microsoft. We don't deal with these types of problems. I'm not trying to help you fix your printer. We don't even sell printers. The next one comes from Reasonable Cat 5767. That every country does not, in fact, have its own sun. Wow. This is just... What did you think? Like, have you ever flown on an airplane before? Like, you must have been traveling other places and thought to yourself, this sun is a lot hotter over here than the sun that we have back home. how long was it before somebody had like called you out on this? Like, were you just going around having tourist conversations with people and people were like, what are you, people just were not, they were like, this must be, I'm not even going to get myself involved in this. I don't even think I have the mental capacity to have this conversation. It's like, wow, this sun you got here in Australia is a lot hotter than the sun we got back up in northern Canada. This is unbelievable, the sun you got here. How did you get yourself hooked up with a sun like this? We need to bring some of this, we need to bring a sun like this back up where I'm from, because it's pretty cold. I don't know if you know anything about Canada, but pretty cold up here. So we could use a sun like this. I wouldn't mind if the days were as nice and beautiful and shiny as this. So how'd you hook this up? Where do you get one of these bad boys? Huh? Oh, you're not gonna tell me. Oh, all right. Devil's got your tongue. Cat's got your tongue, I guess. All right, you're keeping that one for yourself. Okay, fair enough. All right, I would. You know what? If I had a son like that too, I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't blame you if I had a son like that. I'd probably keep a pretty top secret where I got that baby from. You're lucky. Oh, you're really lucky. But you know what? One of these days, we'll be competitive. All right, this is the world's a competitive place. We're gonna find a son that's gonna probably compete with your son, and when that happens, we'll see. We'll see who wants to live where. Okay, we'll see who starts moving around. So I don't sleep on us. We're not a very populated country, but you know we've got some smarty pants over here. We'll figure it out. It's like not every country has its own like Dyson sphere. Like this is not. How do you? Have you never flown in an airplane? You just look out the window and see, oh, that's the same sun that was in the sky when I left. How does that even make sense? That takes some major inferring. I think like everything that you learn in school too. Have you ever not looked at a map of the solar system? There's one sun in the middle of the map. It's literally right in the middle. Like it's the sun for all the other planets too. Like, where did you possibly pick up and learn this information? School must have just been a blur to you. There's just no way. Like, I know people who didn't like school, you know, and didn't continue with school and hated school, and they weren't great at school, and some of these people were some very, very smart people that I know. And, you know, and I also knew some people who just weren't that smart, which is fine. Weren't school people. I don't think you could even convince them that this was a fact. I honestly don't think that you could possibly make them believe that this is the way that things are. I think they would be like, this is concerning. I'm concerned for you. All right, I didn't pay attention to a single thing in school, and I'm worried for you. Next one comes from Catastrophizer. I worked tech support for an internet provider a few years back. I feel like this is just where you gotta run into the dumbest people when working tech support or some sort of support. I worked for a tech support for an internet provider a few years back. A woman calls in and complaining her Wi-Fi isn't working. Go through your normal troubleshooting questions. What's your device? How are you connected? And finally, what can you see on your screen? Crazy woman, it's black. Me, how do you mean? Are you getting errors? The whole screen is black. Have you turned the laptop on? I can't. Why not? I've lost the charging cable. Okay, do you have another device I can help you connect with, or maybe a tablet or your phone? No, you need to get the laptop connected. Can you go and buy another charging cable? No, you need to send me one. We don't supply them. We also didn't supply your laptop. We just provide the internet. Yes, and now you're not providing me internet, so you need to fix it. 40 minutes of this went on, and as my teams around me stared in incoherent disbelief that this woman couldn't understand why her internet provider couldn't connect Wi-Fi to a computer with power now. I remember hanging up the phone and putting myself on break. My manager looked at me and told me to take a walk while barely hiding her unrestrained giggles. This is just brutal. Like, this is I feel like I would have mentally regressed. Like I would have, my brain would have became smoother because of this conversation. Like we don't even have your laptop in stock. We don't even sell any accessories for the laptop you bought. Like where do you think we're going to get this from? You probably have a better chance of finding it right now than we do. Like this is a call center. Like I have a British accent. Where do you think I am from? Like this is not, where do you, like, this is, I don't even have the same wall outlets as you do. I couldn't even find a charger for your cable if I wanted to. You have same day shipping. This is Amazon. Like you can just get one to your house right now. I'm honestly, if you have Amazon Prime, you could probably get it for free. One of these things delivered to your house. This is just mind-numbing. People's responsibility. It's like, no, you haven't connected me to the internet. What do you mean? How is it my fault? You don't have a power cable for your laptop. You haven't connected yourself. I think this problem, like, if we're going to go to the origin of the problem, starts with you. Like, I didn't come in the middle of the night to, sneak around and steal your cables. Yeah, we do that every once in a while at this company. We have to keep people on their toes, right? Oh, your security system's clearly not upgraded because we came into your house last night and stole your laptop. So if you want it back, you're going to have to sign another contract with us. So send it to you in the mail. If you print it out, it will materialize in front of your eyeballs. You can sign it and send it back to us, and we'll print it off. Next one comes from Munchkin M. My husband had to explain to a coworker that she couldn't take a train from the US to Europe. She insisted she had to because she didn't like flying. No, you're not understanding. I have to take the train. I have to take the train. I cannot fly. The last time I flew, the turbulence was terrible and I just couldn't do it. So you know what? Next time, I'm taking the train to Europe. I'm gonna hop on the bullet train, hop on the speed train, just go there. I know it might take a little extra time, but I think it's worth it. And I'm thinking to myself too, why doesn't everyone take the train? I feel like the train is, if we invest a little bit more money in this train over to Europe, I think we could probably make it faster than the plane. And see, what I don't think you're understanding is people have been trying to do this. This is an active effort that is going on right now. But the main biggest problem standing in your way is this little thing called the Atlantic Ocean. It is a massive body of water separating Europe and North America. It's pretty hard to bridge that gap. We've never built a bridge that big. And also, we would have to build a bridge to the bottom of the ocean. I don't know if we would actually have to do that, but to support a train, like, tell me how you think this exists. Because I would be very curious to hear, because maybe I'm not privy to some of your engineering capabilities and engineering knowledge, but having a train over the ocean, over the Atlantic Ocean, where things like storms happen, violent weather patterns in the middle of the ocean. How is a train supposed to... You know what avoids all of that? Flying in an airplane. Right over. You might get a little rain, caught in a little cloud rainstorm. If you're flying, in the clouds and stuff. But I think you're probably a safer bet flying than you would be. It's probably more dangerous to take a train if there was one. You'd probably be putting your life at much more risk to take a train than you would be to fly in a plane. So I think you're overthinking this one a little bit. Like, who's selling these tickets? Where are you getting these tickets from? I wonder what happens if you look up, like, train from US to Europe. She's like, this is America, okay? We can do whatever we want. We can take a train to Europe. I know the Europeans might not be super fond of us Americans coming over there, but This is America, okay? We have the freedom to do it. I'm an American, okay? I have every right to travel where I want to travel. It's not my fault the train only goes one way, US to Europe. Okay, this is, and only back for Americans. This is just ridiculous. Next one comes from Candlestick Maker 76. I hope this isn't too racy for this sub. I had to explain to a grown, college-educated adult that no, anal sex does not cause AIDS, and that no, if both parties are HIV negative, they cannot create it by engaging in this activity. No, that is not how viruses work. Yeah, like, listen, babe, I know you wanted to try some new stuff. I know you wanted to, you wanted to get a little experimental, but I just don't think I'm willing to die from AIDS. I just don't think I want to bring something like that into the world. A kid? Maybe, yeah. Maybe we can have a child. But AIDS? I couldn't bear that burden, babe. For our pleasure alone, to just spawn AIDS into the world like that, I think is pretty selfish. And to be honest, I think I'm going to have to break up with you because I can't believe you would be willing to do something so horrific just for your own self-seeking pleasure. Like, this is, like, come on. Like, what are your parents going to think? Oh, yeah, Mom, I decided to risk every human being on the planet just because I wanted to have a little bit of butt sex. Okay? I just wanted to add a little bit of AIDS into the world. Oh, yeah, just it's only a little bit of AIDS I'm adding into the world. All for what? At what cost is that coming at, babe? At what cost? Yeah. You need a long, hard look in the mirror and reflect. Like, you could be causing a genocide, and I would be an accomplice in that? How dare you, babe? You are a heartless, cold person. I can't believe you would ever want to do something like that. I can never forgive you. All right, folks, we're going to wrap up the show here for today. Thank you all so much for tuning into another episode of the Reddit Asks Us podcast, the podcast where we read and react to comments from r/AskReddit. I am your host, Luke Dick. Now, remember, if you're listening to this Apple Podcast on Spotify, wherever you're listening to, please leave us a rating and also leave us a review. It would help us out so much. And you can respond to this week's question by going to the description of the episode in Spotify, answering in the comments section there, and you will be notified when your response is published, and I'll read that response out loud on the next week's following episode. Please join our subreddit, r/AskReddit, and contribute to the conversation or make a post or whatever about anything podcast related. I hope each and every single one of you, or I love each and every single one of you. Please love me, because I crave your attention and love and affection. I'm a deeply insecure person. No, I'm just kidding. I do actually appreciate your love and respect, though. So I love each and every single one of you. Can't wait to see you again next week. Peace out. Love you. Goodbye.